to go.
All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the National Community Development Week. My name is Robert Sims. I am the current chairman of the Citizens Advisory Committee, and I will be your moderator for today's events. Just a brief history, I guess, of the Citizens Advisory Committee, which we sometimes like to call the CAC. We're a non-member board, volunteers that serve in an advisory capacity to the High Point City Council. And what we do is we recommend and we advise City Council with the programs that we're going to be speaking about today, which is the CDBG, which is the Community Development Block Grant, and the HOME program, which is the Home Investments Partnership Program. These programs we're going to highlight this week and the various agencies who are actually having a positive impact on our community. And, you know, if you know the history of Community Development Week, it was started in 1986, and it was designed to bring grassroots attention to programs such as these. For instance, the CDBG, they have programs that involve decent housing, making suitable living environments, as well as economic opportunities. And then the HOME program, which allows for citizens of High Point to purchase or rent affordable housing. So we have two great programs that we want to highlight this week to show what's happening here in High Point. You know, this week we're here from various organizations and city leaders. And with those, each day we'll have a different topic. Like today's topic is going to be affordable housing. We also will cover homelessness, youth and adult services, food insecurity, and one of my favorites, the neighborhood association. Okay. Now, a brief housekeeping item that we have to go over because we are virtual. We ask that anyone who's listening in just mute your microphone so that we can give our full attention to our presenters. And then any questions that individuals have, we ask you to put them in the chat. And then at the end of the presentations, we'll be able to read those answers that you'll ask, and, you know, we'll have fun today. All right. Okay, guys. So I'm excited. I hope everyone else is. And we're going to kick off the festivities with comments from our mayor, Mr. Jay Wagner, and our assistant city manager, Mr. Greg Ferguson. Gentlemen.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Am I unmuted? Oh, good. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Sims, very much. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and address the group. And I want to thank everybody who's participating. What this Community Development Week does is it really helps us to make High Point a better place for all of our citizens, providing equal opportunity, providing a better quality of life for our citizens. And it is vital to what we're trying to accomplish as a city council to provide a better life for all of our citizens. I want to thank all of you for taking part in it. I'm excited about the topics that you're going to be covering. I'm excited to learn what you discuss and what you come up with, and most of all, I hope you can bring us some great ideas. We're going to listen to you after the week is over. When you've talked about it and you've kicked things around, and you hopefully, I really hope you come up with some great ideas that we can use at the city council level. And what you're doing is vital to the future of our city. So most of all, I just want to thank you for taking part. I have high hopes for what you're doing this week, and I look forward to what comes out of the work that's going to be done this week. So that's really it. I'll keep it short, but thank you so much for taking part. Thank you so much for being willing to step out in faith for your city and try to make it a better place. Thank you very much.
Good morning. Happy to participate this morning in the Community Development Week, and wanted to talk about some of the things that we know have been very vital to the city over the last number of years. We've been very appreciative of the HUD grants that are annually allocated to the city of High Point. These funds have allowed us to strengthen communities and provide needed services to residents in need that would not otherwise have been possible. For example, CDBG funds have been instrumental in increasing the stock of multifamily affordable housing in High Point. To date, 400 families have benefited from these new affordable apartments, with more on the way. Additionally, CDBG funds have helped strengthen neighborhoods through home repair programs and public services, ranging from addressing food insecurity to reading programs to providing services to the homeless. We also have successfully used home funds to help revitalize neighborhoods in Southside, Macedonia, and Washington Terrace. Almost 100 proud new homeowners have realized their dreams. These funds have also enhanced home buying opportunities through the provision of down payment assistance. The impact of HUD funding in assisting our citizens has been fantastic, and we're very grateful. We congratulate everyone in participating this week in the Community Development Week. We look forward to all the great things that are being teed up for the future, and we appreciate everyone's participation. Thank you.
All right. Excellent. Thank you, Mayor Wagner. Thank you, Mr. McCaslin. Again, we do, all serve as stewards of the city of High Point. So, we just want to thank you for all your support and, hope that we can come up with those great ideas today. And, I'm looking forward to see what we can do. So next on our agenda, we have an overview. And I was looking for Mr. Williams. I'm not sure if he's on. And so what I'll do is I will pass it along to Mr. McNair, our Community Development and Housing Director, Mr. Michael McNair.
Good morning, everyone. As was mentioned earlier, the purpose of National Community Development Week is to focus local and national attention on these two programs, Community Development Block Grant and the Home Program. And the thinking is that highlighting the implementation and impact of the programs will help underscore the need to increase funding. To that end, you will hear this week from community partners who've received these funds and help make a difference in our community. Today's discussion will focus on affordable housing, and we hope you find their comments to be useful and informative. And I'd like to, because I'm not going to take much time, we have a lot of speakers, but I want to leave you with this thought that I believe was uttered by the president of Habitat, national president, that houses are where jobs sleep at night. So it's just something to bear in mind, that how affordable housing ties directly into economic development. So without further ado, I will yield to the moderator to get started with the program.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. McNair. And just a housekeeping note, I mentioned Mr. McCaslin, but Mr. Ferguson, I was speaking to you, sir. So didn't forget about you there. Thank you very much. So excellent. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to a few of the agencies that we have partnered with, the City of High Point, with some of the CDBG programs. And we're going to start today with the Housing Consultants Group. And you have the floor.
Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Happy Monday. And I want to go ahead and thank the City of High Point for being a partner. I had to think about the years. I'm going to stop at 15 years that we've been a partner with the City of High Point. Started out working with the CD and Housing Department with Mike McNair as a fill-in as I was starting my nonprofit, and here we are 15 plus years later. So I will get right into my presentation. I'm going to share my screen with you. And I'm going to go over what we do in general, and then I'm going to deviate off script a little bit. Make sure my screen here, and all righty. So we are Housing Consultants Group, a nonprofit. I am the founder and the executive director. And a little bit about what we do for the city, what we're most proud of throughout Guilford County is we offer monthly homebuyer education through, I believe, CDBG funds that allows us to teach potential homebuyers how to be homeowners. And we're happy that in Guilford County, and pretty much good split between Greensboro and High Point, last year we provided homebuyer education through a pandemic to over 1,100 families. So the great thing is there's 1,100 families in Guilford County and in High Point who want to be homeowners and started out the right way by getting the education first. So what we do, we have these offerings monthly. Our speakers include realtors, lenders, and all the parties that are a part of the real estate transaction. And I will tell you that most of the time the participants are overwhelmed at the number of hands in the pot, so to speak. but we're happy about the fact that we're able to provide local professionals to teach them how the process works and recognize that everybody plays a role and that they need to be empowered with this knowledge before they get started. So the topics that we talk about include credit before and after home purchase. I'm happy to say that we provide a lot of post-purchase education because we do at our agency loss mitigation for people facing foreclosure. Our approach to home buyer education is kind of a keep it real approach. We want you to get in your home. We want you to stay in your home, but here's some things you need to know about life after post-purchase. So I'd like to, I'm proud to share with you that we don't just do the class and get them to closing and we don't interact with them anymore. We are very much a part of their life post-purchase. And we talk about the things that are involved in post-purchase, home maintenance. We give them information about seasonal maintenance, preventative maintenance, and we talk about emergency planning. And we have a huge emphasis on that within the last 3 years because of the local disasters that have hit locally and statewide. And pretty much we approach it as, what would you do if in 3 minutes your life changed? And I referenced the tornado that touched down in Greensboro in 2018. And it really impressed upon them the challenge of starting out with an immediate goal of having enough money to be able to leave their house with their family and stay someplace with a non-family member and have to take care of their family for a week. And we kind of give them a visual on what that would look like. And then we talk with them about budgeting as a homeowner. The classes, as you see, are informative, we are free engaging, and we do case studies often to see if they can figure out on their own what that person should do. And we like to have a lot of fun. I'll share that with you too. So what I like about our approach is we recognize as we do those classes, everybody's not ready for home ownership. And happy to tell you also that High Point was the first to fund the only IDA, Individual Development Account program in the county. An IDA is a special savings account associated with education for low to moderate income families. And we also have a contract with them that speaks to saving money. If you're going to participate in an IDA, you have to sign a contract, commit to saving some amount of money, attend classes monthly, and meet with a success coach on a monthly basis, one-on-one. And the savers agree to the financial education classes. What we like about this approach is we don't tell them what to save, but they're accountable for savings, as well as we also recognize that this is a best practice for people with credit scores that are pretty much homeowner ready within 6 to 12 months. And that would typically be anywhere from a 570 to a 580. We know that that particular person, where they are right then, is a good place to start to get them to be a successful homeowner. I will brag on High Point as well, as when you all received the NSP the money, the neighborhood stabilization money, we embarked on a very successful lease purchase program that included the IDA as something mandatory. And we had an 80% success rate with 8 of the 10 home people involved in the program being able to successfully complete the task of home ownership. After signing up for the IDA, once again, let me move this over. Okay. Once again, I've already covered this, what it entails and who's willing and eligible to be an IDA participant. Other things we offer are financial literacy classes or boot camps. We recognize also that some people aren't ready for even the IDA class. We like to think that we're the people that tell you not now instead of no. And so we have financial literacy boot camps in Greensboro, High Point, Partnership Village. We have a comprehensive housing counseling program in Greensboro and High Point. We do Housing Connect GSO in Greensboro. We also provide loss mitigation for both cities, and I'm most proud of Operation Inasmuch, which is what we do. In High Point, we've not been able to do that because of COVID-19. We're hoping to get back to it, but I'm really excited about the efforts we have right now as it relates to COVID-19. We are able to provide mortgage and rental assistance in the city of High Point. It's a very up and flowing program. We've helped, let me see, about almost 60 families thus far. We're hoping to help more. And we're also offering them the financial literacy boot camps. What we're happy about there is we recognize that folks that were affected financially by COVID-19 are facing some other hardships as well. And because we are a HUD certified housing counseling agency, we're happy to report that we're helping them with some other needs as well, managing their money, assessing what their options are, and making sure that they are stable and staying in their homes. So that is all I have to provide to you right now. But I guess Michelle and Mr. Moderator that want to save questions for later, but I welcome those if you have any at the end of the program. And I will stop sharing now.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sophia. That was a great presentation. And on a personal note, I just want to say I have been witness to some of the results of your programs, and you guys are doing a great job.
Thank you.
The Housing Consultants Group, I know many people who have been to the workshops, and they have actually purchased their homes. So you're doing a great job in Guilford County, High Point. 2 thumbs up for you. Excellent. Now, I don't think we have any questions yet. I don't see any, but we will get back to you, so don't go nowhere. We may need you. Okay. All right. So next on our list, we're going to go to another agency, and we're going to get a presentation from Habitat for Humanity of High Point, Archdale, and Trinity.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. I'm Susan Wood, and I'm the Director of Habitat for Humanity in High Point, Archdale, and Trinity. And we have had a relationship with community development and housing going back about as long as Mike McNair and I have been in town together. I think we showed up in town about the same time, about 20 years ago. And High Point's never been the same since. We have worked on improving the city of High Point. I'm going to tell you a little bit about our program, and I have to just apologize. I've been out of the office for the past 3 weeks, so I just have some great photos to share with you so that you don't have to just look at me talking. But I will show you some of the pictures of our homes and of our families. So we have Habitat for Humanity is a home ownership program. We believe that building wealth in a community through home ownership is the way to do it. We build homes in partnership with pre-approved families. All of our families go through an application process similar to if they were applying for a loan. We look at their credit history, which does not have to be perfect. We look for a longevity and a work history, and we also look for the need for homes. Habitat, after we approve families, we start on developing a plan to work with that family to find a house that fits their needs. Our families can range from lovely 2-people families like this one here to families up to 8. So our houses range from about 1,100 square feet to about 1,500 square feet, depending on the family size. Our homes are built by volunteers. We also have a licensed contractor that oversees all the building, and we have contractors to come in and do the things like heating and air, electrical, plumbing. And those are all licensed contractors. Our houses do meet energy efficiency standards through a partnership with Advanced Energy, and their heating and air costs are guaranteed for around $35 a month, depending on the house. The families get to choose their interiors of the house. They have a set palette of colors that they can choose to really make this house theirs. So it's personalized, and the family has home ownership. Family also has to do sweat equity building their homes. I know these families hate this picture, but I love it. They have to do 500 hours of sweat equity per 2-parent family, 250 hours of sweat equity per single parent family. Into the building of their home, they get to meet the volunteers, and it also is just a great way to build communities. When we are done, Habitat sells these homes with a 25-year no-interest mortgage. Right now, our standard home is being sold for $85,000, which is well below market rate. And these homes are financed by Habitat, and the families pay us back. They drop their payments in the mail to Habitat once a month. So we are not only a social service agency and a building agency, we are also a mortgage lending agency and a finance agency. This keeps us in great contact with our families throughout the years. Throughout the pandemic, we have worked with our families if they have met financial issues that they cannot make their mortgages. We have worked with them to restructure and to delay some payments so that we can keep them in their homes. I always say everybody thinks that the great day in ending is a day like this with Irene when we sell her the house and she moves in. But really, the great day for Habitat is when a family can be in that house for 25 or more years. So we work on longevity in a neighborhood. Habitat has recently just completed work in our Washington Terrace neighborhood. This is approximately 44 homes that we have built. We've received over $1 million in community development block grant and home funds from the city of High Point. This entire neighborhood is about a $5.2 million investment by Habitat into this community. And we now have 44 homeowners in this community that are giving back. In January, Habitat wrote a check for almost $50,000 from the family's escrow accounts for taxes, property taxes. So you can see these families have gone from being renters to homeowners to giving back to our tax base, which we love. Habitat also likes to work in a concentrated area because we feel like that's the way we can make the biggest impact. Washington Terrace has had a drop in crime of about 75% in 7 years. Crimes used to be things like liquor houses, drug trafficking, and now the crimes are more petty theft. Somebody left a bicycle in the front yard and the next day it was gone. So we really appreciate what we've done with this community to make High Point a better place. Our next stop is going to be Cable Street. Cable Street, I'll move off of Irene. Cable Street is right just a block off of University Parkway and Green Street. And it's an area where there are 12 lots that Habitat, we own some of them, the city owns some of them, and we have started building there. We have 2 families that have already been approved, and their house, one house is underway, the other one will start in about a month and a half. And we have in a total 12 lots there. So we're looking to build out that community. When it's done, that'll be over a $2 million investment by Habitat. And currently, I don't know what this is doing. Currently, we have $100,000 under contract with the city of High Point for these homes. We also work with the city of High Point with a job training program that we take individuals from a building program through Communities Against Violence, and they work their construction skills on our job site and as apprentice until they can find other employment. And we do that, we work about 4 people a year. So we are dynamic. We are building probably 3 to 4 homes a year, which impacts usually around 20 people. And these are long-term homes, and they build wealth in our community. And we feel like that's the best way to build community, is to put in an asset into a family so that they have a secure place to live and an asset to pass down for generations. Thank you, and I'll be happy to take questions when this is done.
All right. Thank you, Susan. That was amazing. And again, ladies and gentlemen, that's just a portion of what we here in High Point are doing to improve the lives of all of our citizens. So again, my hats off. Great program, Susan, and keep doing a great job. All right. Now, next on our list will be the Tiny House Community Development.
Hey, thank you for the invitation to come and participate in this month's or this week's events. Appreciate it greatly. And on behalf of the entire board of Tiny House Community Development, thank you. We've been working pretty hard trying to get into the High Point community and build affordable, permanent, safe, basically supportive housing. And we've done that with our first community that we've been working with for about 2 years now on building 10 tiny houses on Hay Street. Good news is we finally have full funding for that project now, and it is getting ready to be completed by June. So we'll be working with local shelters in High Point as we continue to not only complete this first community, but build additional communities. We'll be working in partnership with COC members to find residents and get them out of shelter and transitional housing and into permanent supportive housing. We are talking and looking at the opportunity for additional lots to offer home ownership. Our board of directors has already decided that we're going to move toward that direction so that we're not just a permanent leasing situation, but they can actually work themselves toward home ownership in a tiny house. A lot of our residents tend to be seniors, so that we're serving our major population that we serve is somewhere between 58 and say 68, 70 years old. And we're really happy to be able to provide them safe, permanent housing. We have taken quite some time to get to the place where we've got these houses up and up off the ground now and trying to get them complete. It's not been an easy road, coming in, the new person into High Point City, trying to show the community and show High Point staff that, tiny houses, it may not be the solution to ending homelessness, but it certainly is an alternative housing solution. So it's something that we focus on getting done in the near future is our Hay Street project, which includes community garden, staff members visiting every single month, if not weekly. And when we consider ourselves supportive housing, we really focus on not just placing someone in a house, but continuing that relationship with that individual for as long as they seem to need it. Part of how we do that is we really focus on providing homeowner or resident associations meetings. Every month, everybody participates in our resident association meetings. They get to elect different positions and serve in different roles throughout the community. So they could be secretary, treasurer, chair of the resident association meetings. And it gives them a sense of pride and dignity. So they're not just renting a house or something. They're actually participating in community events and planning for that community, for community gardens to street festivals that we hope to be able to put on throughout the year. Occasionally, as we get out of COVID and get residents settled in, they can actually maybe have a small street party there and use some of our funding to help do that. So, we want to be a part of the community at large. We have a lot of people watching what we're doing, and they're just at awe about how we're building tiny houses. And they still are confused about our program. We haven't really had the opportunity to get out and share with them what it actually is going to be like to live in the tiny house community. But, we're going to get there as we've been able to put on staff the end of last year. And this year, we're going to focus hard on getting out and knocking on some doors around our neighborhood and introduce ourselves and let people know about what we're doing and our plans for the future. We do have another site in High Point closer to downtown. We're really super excited about this one because it's nearing, the site plan phase is nearing completion, and we should have a approved site plan in the coming days. And with that being said, that community is going to focus mainly or solely on veterans. We'll have 6 tiny houses, 2 3-bedroom houses that may be used for either transitional housing in partnership with Open Door Ministries Veterans Program, or we may actually have a family that moves into one of those 3-bedroom houses as a transitional into permanent housing. The veterans community really is not just High Point, it's Guilford County, but we're going to focus mainly on the veterans in High Point and making sure that they're well served. In other words, we'll have a community building there on site that will actually have a glorified break room that will be able to serve meals to the individuals that are in the community, or just any time that anybody needs a meal. We're going to look at preparing options to have meal service there that people can come by or drive by and pick up. That's in discussions and trying to figure out a budget for that right now. So this community center will do more than just serve the 6 individuals or 15 individuals living there. It's going to serve the community around there with a hot meal. Could be hot dogs, could be something simple takeout. That community building will have full-time staff, so there will be somebody there. Our case manager right now is working on her clinical. So she'll be a clinical case manager that'll serve the veterans for that community and other communities that we build in High Point in the future. So we're anxious to get that set up so that we'll have a permanent presence throughout the week and on the weekends in High Point. Our program is really built around private-public partnerships. CBG funds, community block grant funds are really important for us. They help us with access to funding. And then we look at North Carolina Housing Finance Agency as permanent funding. And once we get that, those CBG funds help with that. We also look at private sector side. In other words, we get companies, churches, the Elks Lodge. Oh goodness, there's a whole lot of different organizations who actually have an opportunity to sponsor a tiny house. And those sponsorships are generally about 70% of the total construction cost. And then the other part, 30% or whatever, we actually raise as a nonprofit through CBG funds or NCHFA or any other means. So we take seriously our private public sector financing for our communities. But that's a little bit about tiny houses. We serve meals throughout the week here in Greensboro. We hope to extend that into High Point. As part of our programming, we provide case management to residents so that they're not just left feeling as if they've been placed in a house and forgotten. So we take a lot of pride in making sure that they know that we're there for them. I think that's about all I got right this minute.
Okay, thank you, Scott. That also was awesome. I had no idea that Tiny House was doing so much, especially with the feeding. I know that's a crucial point now with the coronavirus, but again, you guys are doing outstanding work out there, and I applaud you.
Thank you.
Great job. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so we'll just keep going, and next we have Winfield Properties.
I think I'm unmuted. Can everyone hear me now? All right, I apologize. I'm on a different computer here. I had a problem with mine earlier, and it took me a while to figure out the little screen protector thing to get it to where you could actually see me. So apologize. My name is Craig Stone with Winfield Properties. We've been working with High Point and Mike McNair's department for a little more than 10 years now, going back to the start with Admiral Point. And I remember how difficult it was back then to start what we were doing and to explain to everyone the 58 units of need and how difficult it was during those times. I think that we opened up, and within 30 days, we had about 1,500 applicants for Admiral back in when we initially done it. And since then, have not opened up a community that we've not had more than 1,000 to 2,000 current applicants. And the current project that we're working on right now, leasing up, is Avondale, and that's the case as well. So the overall need is incredible. What we do, we are a developer We are a builder and we are a managing agent for multifamily apartments that work with primarily low-income housing tax credits administered through the North Carolina Housing Finance Agency's 9% program. We have expanded out in 2021 to work with the 4% program and have presented some information this year for Wendover Heights, a project that we're working on. And over the course of time, working with the 9% program, it has been incredibly competitive to the point that there have been a couple years in our progress of working together that we've been unfortunately unable to achieve an award. And I see that getting more and more difficult over the course of time. So we've expanded into the 4% world, which will also open up our ability to be able to generate more units. Currently, to date, we have delivered Admiral Point, Addington Place Apartments, Kirkwood, Hartley, Avondale, and getting ready to start construction on Abbey Crossing. That's a little over 400 units in the community. And I would say that we do not have a single community that we're currently leasing that has less than 1,000 folks on an applicant waiting list. To kind of give a little bit of a further sort of drill down, I took one of our properties and wanted to sort of talk about it more succinctly to kind of give a bit of an example of how the process works. We go through a competitive QAP that the Housing Finance Agency puts out each year to compete for a tax credit award. And that particular award process generally starts in January with a preliminary application. In May, we get a final application, and then in August, there is an award announcement. And if I take and go back to one of the communities that we worked with, I would take Kirkwood Crossing, which was an 84-unit family community that we did that had 7 home units that we were able to fund and generate through working with the innovative sort of use of Section 108 funds and some other things. The address location for that particular community is 228 Kirkwood Street in High Point. One of the things that I would add, that is a true partnership between Winfield, the Housing Finance Agency, and the City of High Point to develop in this case, a dynamic site location with amenity access for our residents to the general submarket there and the community as a whole. But that particular site had some site constraints that there were some issues that we were concerned about. Would the soils be stable enough? I think everybody had driven by that site for years and years, said it was a great site, but there was some concerns going back to a building that was in the 70s, demolished, and how the soils in that particular area were, what they were and what the impact was. It ended up being that we had the site took apart and had brought in a geotechnical firm that did quite a bit of work on the site. We were able to prove that the scope and all of the initial testing were workable, and it ended up being well within the framework of what we did. The families of Kirkwood Crossing have convenient access to grocery stores, shopping, pharmacy, retail, all really within close sort of walking proximity to the site. Kirkwood Crossing is sort of a mix of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom apartments, again, totaling 84 units. One thing that we're awful proud of is that we're able to service up to the 60% AMI for the area median income, and able to offer those folks a really dynamic quality housing, and also Energy Star 2 multi-family compliant housing, which means that, you know, their pay on utilities, those types of things that are affordable, and it's a safe and convenient house in that sense. Kirkwood Crossing targets as a further kind of look at down to the 30% threshold. And when we talk about what that is, that's basically one of the keys in life that people focus on is rent overburden. And what that means when somebody says rent overburden is they want folks to not pay more than 30% of their household income in housing expense. They would like for them to pay less than, and the needs in the community are staggering. I think that there's a couple thousand units presently projected in the community that are overburdened currently that we're fulfilling, and certainly our wait lists and the numbers that we see show that. So one of the kind of talking points here is who benefits. Certainly with all of the communities, we have family communities, we have senior communities. Kirkwood Crossing is a family community that targets folks that have incomes between 30% and 60% of the area median income. And we also target, through the use of funds that the agency has generated with the KEY program, folks that are disabled, whether that be physically or mentally disabled, and also work with the DHHS program in Raleigh to generate. We have set aside essentially 10 units there that meet both the ADA and the DHHS requirements for work with the KEY program. A lot of what we do in sort of meeting the criteria of funding and also management compliance to the Housing Finance Agency, there are a couple different program requirements that we meet. One of the things that's good in doing that is we have a program that we work with, the Violence Against Women's Act program that comes through the VAWA program that we spend some time with and speak to folks and generally work with. I myself have worked with the Interact program in Raleigh before, and so it's an extension of that and some other things. So we have a number of different programs that our folks and our community managers work with people if there are folks that come to us that have additional concerns outside of the normal sort of life parameters. Constructed in 2017, again, Kirkwood Crossing meets the Energy Star guidelines. One thing I would say that's significant, we are an all brick hardy plank, which is semesterous siding, metal stairs, a number of different features that you would not normally see in affordable housing. And I challenge anybody to take a look at Kirkwood Crossing and say that that is affordable housing. That's one of the things that we try to do as a mission, working with High Point and presenting our designs and presenting the products that we use. We use long-term products that are affordable and easy to maintain, but also attractive and present what we call as a home to the folks that we work with. A little bit about ourselves again. We're a firm based out of Jamestown, North Carolina, grew up in the area. We focus 100% on affordable housing. We've been doing this now for 50 years. And probably 45 of those 50 years, we were exclusively sort of focused on multifamily and predominantly on affordable housing of different types. The project, to kind of give a little bit of background going back to Kirkwood itself, is a 6.61 acre site. The initial scope, again, going back to the soils, involved some soil remediation that we had to do for the site. We worked in concert with the city. We worked in concert with soil remediation experts, with geotechnical firm Terracon, and were able to deal with all of the testing and items that were needed to be done there. I spoke a little bit earlier about rent overburden. That's one of the biggest issues that we face as a whole in trying to accomplish what we're doing. If you kind of, one thing that I talk about when looking at something like this, the folks that live in this community, there are 84 units, that's 84 families. They have safe, decent, affordable housing that we're able to generate through the use of several different funding programs to help them be able to meet as we go through the process, their rental concerns and not be an overburdened household as far as what they pay. Kind of in closing, to kind of wrap up, one thing I would say, Kirkwood Crossing would not be possible without the partners that are involved, that being the city and also Mike McNair and the Community Development and Housing Department that he heads up. They've been an absolute pivotal partner over the years. Mike was able years and years ago to look at and focus on the Section 108 funds, which have since become sort of a nationally recognized use of the funds. We participated with HUD on a question and answer process, and also on a write-up that I think is going to be published in HUD and then focused and sent out on Kirkwood Crossing. And all of that came from Mike's sort of tireless look at how his program, his department could take funds, magnify those funds, and build housing and serve the community as a whole. And so without him, I don't think where we are today would be the 400 units that we serve. And I think that it's a big credit to him and his staff. I don't know if there are any questions. I think at the appropriate time, there could be some questions. I'd like to present myself for that. And appreciate the opportunity to speak and appreciate the opportunity to be able to work with the city. It's been a wonderful partnership. We look forward to working in the future. We look forward to working with the 4% program. The program that we currently are looking at with the 4% and the site that we currently have, Wendover Heights, is a little over 200 units. If we're able to get this going and work through some of the issues that are going on with lumber pricing and things like that right now with the 4% program, those are larger communities. There's 200 plus units projected for Wendover Heights. That would allow us to tackle the problem of affordable housing in the community a lot better, and that's why we're pushing so hard to do so. So appreciate allowing the opportunity to be able to speak, and look forward to answering questions at the appropriate time.
All right, Greg, thank you very much. That was great information. And kudos to Mr. Michael McNair. Again, thank you, sir, for all you do. You're awesome. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on to our next presenter, and that is going to be the Community Housing Solutions Group.
Good morning, everyone. A pleasure being here. My name is Gene Brown. I'm the Executive Director with Community Housing Solutions, and honored and excited just to share how we've been able to partner with the City of High Point, the Community Development Department, and leverage resources through the CDBG funds and the home funds to help both preserve and provide home ownership opportunities in the City of High Point. So I've got two things. I've got a brief PowerPoint presentation, and then if I can make it work, I thought the best testimony is to hear a brief comment from someone that bought one of our homes, from a new homeowner. And so I'm going to try to play a short video after I cover the PowerPoint presentations. But I will share my screen. Here we go. So Community Housing Solutions, for folks that may be hearing me or are not familiar with our organization, I like to call ourselves a nonprofit general contractor with experienced staff in residential construction. Two of our staff members are licensed general contractors. We work in a lot of older homes. So we are certified in the lead safe repair, renovate, and paint. We also work with a lot of older adults, and we're certified by the National Association of Home Builders as a certified aging in place specialist. Two of our staff are trained on energy efficiency improvements, and we have more than 80 years of field building experience. So half of our staff is actually folks that work in the field, doing the work themselves, working with subcontractors, working with volunteers. And we basically offer two programs. One on the basis of preserving home ownership. We have a home repair program where we repair homes for folks that live in Guilford County They may own or occupy their home and have an income level below 80% of the area median income defined by HUD. And then we also have a home ownership program where we either build or we renovate or rehab existing properties that we acquire. So we either acquire land or existing homes and renovate or revamp them to be sold to qualified homeowners with an income below 80% of the area median income. We partner with Sophia Crisp, who you've already heard Sophia talk about the wonderful program she offers through Housing Consultants Group, but she does all of our home ownership training. She represents us in our transactions for qualified new homeowners that go through her programs. So those are the two programs that I'd like to really zero in on what we've done in High Point, and have had the pleasure of partnering in High Point since around 2014 or 2015. So it's amazing. It's been almost 6 or 7 years. And I believe pictures are worth 1,000 words. So there's more pictures than there are words. But the first neighborhood that we worked in was the Southside neighborhood. And we were asked to partner with the city of High Point using home funds to work in completing a number of lots in the Southside neighborhood. And we started with an initial 6 homes that are built and they're already sold. We have 3 other lots that there's some site prep work that needs to be done before we can proceed with that. I also might mention one of the great partnerships we have. We're a community housing development organization, or a CHODO. So 3 of our board members are from High Point, but additionally, we get representatives from the community. And some of you may be familiar with Tony Collins, who's the president of the Southside neighborhood, and he is on our board. So it's been great to have his partnership and leadership at a board level, but also within the community working with us for the homes. So this is a picture of these 4 homes that are in a row that we built initially. This is 807 George Place. And the majority of the floor plans, just if as you see these floor plans, these are by an organization out of Raleigh called Tight Lines Designs. And so they're made to fit into a little bit more narrower lot if it's 50 feet or 60 feet wide. And are a variety of different styles, but 3 bedrooms, 2 baths is our minimum. And we have built some as large as 4 bedroom, 2.5 baths. This picture, this gentleman, he may be putting up his number 1 finger because he's a Cowboys fan, but lately the Cowboys have not been going well. It's been a couple of years ago, but the real reason why both of them are smiling is this was their first home that they built. This is a married couple, and they were paying over $400 a month renting a single family home in High Point. They were paying over $400 a month in the winter for heating costs and electrical costs. And one of the things that we do with our homes, besides being attractive, but we also build them to standards of advanced energy out of Raleigh, Systems Vision program, which allows us to, we do things like raise roof trusses, we do insulation in the walls, the exterior walls. We build with 2x6 instead of 2x4s to put additional insulation. We have Energy Star rated appliances. We air seal. We put in closed crawl spaces. All those to help reduce cost to heat or to cool your home. And so at closing, I have the pleasure of presenting a 2-year Systems Vision guarantee. And so he may have been smiling because he was a Cowboys fan, but I also think when I presented this to them, just think of the additional income that this is going to free their family of, that'll allow them to live more fully in their homes with a higher quality of life. So this particular home had a $40 a month guarantee of their heating and cooling costs for the first 2 years of the energy use guarantee. And it will provide additional income for their family. So we do this with all of our homes, depending on the size and the style of the home, whether it's a 1-story or 2-story. They typically range from about $35 to $45 a month just for the heating and cooling costs. And here's an example, the shielded roof plywood to reflect heat from the shingles and the raised roof trusses. Here's another home on the left that was built with the green and brown on George Place. And so those were used with home funds, and we're excited that we were able to start there. The other project that we're involved with the city of High Point is in the Cedro subdivision. off of Cedro Drive. There's a total of 17 lots. I recently had to update the price range because of the current market we're in and also building costs. But we just last Friday, I received offers in the mid 150s for 2 of the homes that we're just getting ready to start. So there's 17 lots, and we started 2 builds on 1477 and 1485 Cedro that are under contract to sell by the end of May, I believe, 1st of June. And we have not started the next 2, but we're getting ready to within the next 90 days. And Sophia presented me with 2 offers on those homes. So we're really, really pleased with the interest and the demand right now. With interest rates low, those that have not been affected by COVID from an employment perspective, now's a great time to buy a home with the interest rates where they are. And so we're really excited about the interest in this, this build that we're involved with. There's 5 different floor plans that we're looking to build in that with a minimum of 3 bedroom, 2 baths. And we also have 1 floor plan based on the lot size. We can build a 4 bedroom, 2.5 bath home as well. All to Advanced Energies, partnering with Sophia Crisp. And there's additional down payment assistance through the city of High Point, as well as through NCHFA for the energy efficiency that we do in Cedro. And this just gives you a real quick snapshot of some of the plans that we've built. We also felt it was really important to build a single family home with older adults that may want to build it, may want to live in a home. So we're looking at accessibility as well as adaptable, whether it's a young family or whether it's an older adult that, or an individual that has limited mobility that might prefer a single family home as well. So the design in the middle was very intentional with the Carlisle 3 being a single family home. And then you can see some of the 2-story on the left, and then the Austin 3 is our 4 bedroom, 2.5 bath house that we have available. So we really wanted to have a range of homes in this subdivision or this street area that could accommodate a lot of different living situations. So this is, so that was kind of new construction. And I've got 2 slides, I think, on Operation Inasmuch. Very innovative idea. Mike McNair was very familiar with Operation Inasmuch events down in Fayetteville, where you identify a neighborhood and you bring volunteers and leverage funds and staff and donations, and you go in and do kind of what I'll call a neighborhood blitz of home repairs within a particular community. And the first neighborhood we did was Southside. And each year we've chosen 2 different neighborhoods, one in the spring and one in the fall. That's been currently on hold until we get out of COVID and vaccines out and around. We're hopeful that we'll start one again in the fall. But last spring, we were able to complete work with our staff for homes that had already been identified once we went into COVID, and then we postponed the fall and then this spring. But last year, not just Operation Inasmuch, but also with leverage funds that we're able to use through Community Housing Solutions, we were able to complete 29 home repairs in the greater High Point area. 12 of them were Operation Inasmuch neighborhood repairs. We have funds through Piedmont Natural Gas that allows us to do heating repairs for people without furnaces that work and function. We were able to do 9 accessibility modifications because the majority of the people we serve are older adults or disabled homeowners. And water damage is the #1 cause of home repairs that we do. And so we were able to do 16 water damage repairs. That could be a roof replacement. That could be kitchen bath work. And more than $115,000 of funds were invested for those 21 completed home repairs. These are some volunteers on a flat pitch roof from the University of Virginia that we used during their spring break. We have a group that comes down and they were working on a home in High Point. And here's a picture just in total. Over 4 years, we've worked in 7 different neighborhoods. Mike mentioned a couple of those neighborhoods that we've worked in. 132 homes have been repaired, and over $550,000 has been invested over these 4 years in making homes warmer, drier, and safer, with hundreds of volunteers that have worked with Operation Inasmuch. And so really, really excited about the Operation Inasmuch, but how that's allowed us to get in and working with neighborhoods and with people that may not have qualified for Operation Inasmuch, but at a later date reach out to us, and we're able to provide home repairs through the funding that's been provided. And the reason why I'm going to pause here and I want to show a video is what's really neat is we did Operation Inasmuch in Southside neighborhood about 6 years ago. And we worked with this older woman who had 2 or 3 children. And so we did a home repair at her house. And her daughter, who was in her mid-20s and worked with Bank of America and has 2 kids, heard about our organization. And when we started building homes in Southside, she said, "Wouldn't you like to live close by with me?" And so from a home repair that we did with Operation Inasmuch, it led to a homeowner that went through one of Sophia's Housing Consultants Group workshop, qualified for a mortgage, and bought a home. But rather than me tell you much more, what I'd like to do is, it's about a 3-minute video, and I'd like to share this and see if I can do this here. Well, let me try this again. Stop share. I shared the wrong thing. I'm sorry. Here we go. There we go. Now let me just get this. Okay. Let me play this video.
I grew up in Greensboro. My mother was a traveler, so we moved around. We lived in different states, and I loved it just because I have the ability to say that I've seen different things, and especially different views from just touring. You know, I actually lived in different environments, New York, you know, up and down. So I enjoyed that a lot. I have 2 children, 2 boys, 2 lovely little boys, Amir and Messiah, 4 and 2. I originally purchased in this neighborhood just simply because my mother is right around the corner. It makes me feel super safe just knowing that she's right there, as well as when my kids get older, they can run around the corner and go see grandma, and they love just having their own space, being able to have their own yard. As they get older, they'll be able to have their own room. So I even love that we're able to grow into the home. I work for Bank of America. I love my job. They are amazing. They do so much for the community, and I'm so happy to be able to be a part of that. Just because I want to be able to teach my children to give back. I don't necessarily feel like you have to go through poverty to know that, you know, there's things wrong and there's ways to help others, and, you know, they give us opportunities just to be able to reach out and give back. So that's my main and #1 thing that I love that they do. The pandemic has been very unpredictable. Every month there's something else, there's something different. The numbers are going up, the numbers are going down. When this all started, I was a renter. I had to leave my home just due to because we wasn't too sure about the certainty of everything that was going on. So we moved back in with family, and it just seemed like the perfect time to go ahead and start buying. During COVID, it's nice to know every month, okay, I can provide. I can still have somewhere to sleep. That's the main thing. Everything else can be figured out, but it's all about shelter. Community Housing Solutions is just so special to me because they give you the opportunity to have something nice without breaking the bank, basically. They give you the opportunity to be able to also give back into the community and be able to give people what you basically have now and be able to help others. I love the fact that I get to be a part of building it up and revitalizing it and showing people how beautiful this side of town really can be. I'm glad that my kids as well can be a part of that. The opportunity of owning our new home for my family is just generational wealth. This is something that'll always be in the family. It's just all about starting something that can continue forever. way long after I'm gone, and even my kids. I want someone be able to benefit off of this way later.
Okay. She tells the story much better than I do, and so hopefully you all were able to see and hear it. That's the first time I've ever done that. I'm still learning kind of the protocols of Zoom, but that really ties together for me what Operation Inasmuch with the home repairs and what the new construction and how they all come together to just strengthening neighborhoods throughout High Point. I just have two real quick comments, and then I will I'll share one more. Let's see. So the other thing that I wanted to share is the Aging Gracefully program, and it's really neat, the partnership within neighborhoods. We have a program for older adults called the Aging Gracefully program, where we do accessibility modifications. And this may be a little bit more dramatic than all the repairs we do, but as you may know, the most dangerous room in your house is the bathroom because hard surfaces and water. And so when an older adult has limited mobility, it makes it extremely difficult to move around. And this is actually a repair that we did where you have duct tape over the bathroom wall. So it was both a repair but accessibility modifications. And so we have a program called Aging Gracefully, which we do in conjunction with occupational therapists and registered nurses from Cone Health that go into the homes in High Point and in Greensboro. And really beneficial program to allow older adults to live longer in their homes. But we're leveraging other nonprofits, other community organizations, and Michelle McNair is allowing me to speak later this month at a neighborhood association meeting because we really want to get this information out into the community for older adults that have a limited income and how we can help allow them to live longer in the program, live longer in their home. And here, this is one of my favorite pictures. It's from a number of years ago, but the woman in the middle sitting in the lawn chair, her name is Cleopatra McIver. What a beautiful name. The healthiest 93-year-old you would have ever thought. And there's a couple of our staff members in this picture and volunteers from the University of Virginia that helped her home, both with accessibility as well as some repairs. And it's really when you bring community together. I know Habitat works with volunteers as well, but there's something really special. And I love this quote. It came out, I share this at most every presentation I make. It's from a movie called The Good Lie. Came out a number of years ago from refugees from the Sudan. But it says, if you want to go quickly, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And that really, when I think of the support and the partnership that we have with the city of High Point, with other nonprofits, with the volunteers that we work with Operation Inasmuch, when that all comes together, it's just really a wonderful time to celebrate the work of community. So pleasure being with you all, and I'll stay on if there's any questions afterwards.
All right. Thank you very much, Jean. That was amazing. I know the young lady having her first home, that was kind of touching because I almost had a tear come out, but I had to hold it together. Okay. But it was, I mean, that just epitomizes what we can do together, just like the African proverb said, together we can go far. And this just shows what we can do as City of High Point, community development, and your agencies. So I personally want to thank all of you guys for all of the great work that you do. I mean, it just shows what we can do together. Now we're going to move to the Q&A section, and I do have one question. This is for the tiny house community. Mr. Scott, question was raised, how do you plan on integrating the tiny house communities into neighborhoods that have neighborhood associations?
So we look at utilizing brown lots or infill. So we're looking for properties in areas throughout different communities where they're basically half acre in size. And we have, under the tiny house community ordinance that was adopted by council, that basically says that our tiny house communities have to have their own homeowners associations in place. So we have a legal homeowners association set up through the Secretary of State in North Carolina that basically lays out what the community's involvement is. And it's basically just the same as any other legal homeowner association. Integrating it into current neighborhoods that have homeowners associations, I don't know that we're going to be really looking at areas that are like that right now. Basically, like I said, we're looking in extreme areas that just, really need that property brought up. So what we're looking at is building in half acre lots just throughout the city of High Point. I hope that answered whoever's question. Yeah.
I think so. We have another question, and this is for the panel. How has the pandemic affected your missions?
I'll go. It's affected us greatly in that on the financial side, we depend a lot on private sponsorships for houses, and those sponsorships have fallen off dramatically because most of the different organizations that were sponsors literally just, they wanted to come out and be a part of the construction, and that hasn't been able to be done necessarily. And on the other hand, it's opened up great opportunities for grants that we hadn't experienced and financing that we hadn't experienced in the past. But, we focus on, working really hard. We've not slowed down. We've been building. As you can see in the background, that's Hay Street. In my background picture, it's coming along nicely. We've got 2 more houses to stand up, and those will be up in the next coming weeks. We've been rolling. We've been focused on continuing our mission and driving, and the volunteers that could come out we actually have volunteers from Open Door Ministries program who come out every week and help us build the tiny houses. So we look for local shelters and volunteers.
So I will say that it's changed. It hasn't changed our mission. It has changed the level of engagement of participants. There's something about virtual education that once people get the used to it, our engagement and participation has increased at least 200%. Our classes have grown, whereas purely by space, before COVID, we were only able to provide education to up to 35 people at a time. Virtually, our classes have increased to 75 plus twice a month between both cities. So it's 150 people that we're touching that we would never touch had it not been for COVID-19, as well as our mission has changed because there are people that are needing assistance by way of rental and mortgage assistance. It's an opportunity to provide a different level of education. So I'm not happy about the pandemic, but it makes people more engaged, more willing to listen by virtue of just having to slow down.
Yeah, and I would comment, it's impacted us probably in 3 different ways. Number one, we were able to stay open the whole time because we were considered an essential service, both as a nonprofit, as a general contractor. But it really forced us to be very flexible and kind of adapt on the fly. We had to write an infectious disease kind of policy. Some board members helped us kind of put protocols in place for how we would work safely, both with PPE and when we would go in homes and when we wouldn't. I'm talking over the last year. So a lot of preparation, flexibility, adapt to change that we normally didn't have in our normal course of business as we would work as a nonprofit. And then the 2 real big impacts was, number one, we couldn't, or for about 9 of the last 12 months, we were not working with volunteers. So that impacts our ability to get more work done. It also impacts our cost for home repairs. Our average home repair cost actually went up by about $2,000 per project because we weren't using volunteers for that period of time, and we were just using our staff. We were also working only outside from like April 1st of last year until about August. We were not going inside homes because the families we serve predominantly are high risk with health issues and also older adults. So that impacted our home repair cost piece of it. And then the other thing is because we were having to break up the jobs, as many people know, that's not the most efficient way to do it when you go outside, complete those works, and then 6 months later going back inside to complete the jobs. So it's caused a backlog right now. We have probably about 60 or 70 people on our waiting list for need, both in High Point and in Greensboro and throughout Guilford County. So COVID did not stop the demand for services, but because we had to slow down and work a little bit slower and safer, that really impacted our work from that end. But we were able to shift some of our staff to doing more of the new construction because there were no homeowners there and working safely there.
It impacted us too greatly, the number of volunteers that would come out. You know, most of our volunteer groups are either corporate volunteers or churches. And when corporations aren't having employees in the workplace to work, they're not going to send them out to volunteer on a job site. We did have to adjust a number of protocols on the job site to bring in what volunteers we had, but that's really significantly slowed down our building. The other side of that is, and I think we're just seeing it in the past 2 or 3 months, but the supply chain of doors and building material and all of that has been impacted so that our cost has gone up, and also the delay in deliveries, having to wait for windows longer than we have in the past and all of that. So it's really made us look at, you know, how far out in advance are we going to have to order? And that's carrying costs and everything else that we have to put into our budget now. So it's really changed that aspect a lot. We have also on our finance side, we've worked with families to restructure some of their mortgages if they were having a short-term impact on their finances from COVID, so that they could stay in the house and still live up to their obligations for insurance and taxes, but perhaps push those house costs out, those house payments themselves out for 6 months to a year, just to keep them stable and in the house.
From our standpoint, we echo the same as far as the supply chain and some of the comments Ms. Wood just made. You know, we're seeing from a lumber standpoint, because of the scale involved with what we do, anywhere from a $400,000 to an $800,000 impact between wood and copper and a number of different things. In total throughout, we never closed our doors because of being an essential provider of services to the community throughout. And I think the one thing that we've noticed is just an overall level of stress for the folks that we serve and everyone in general with going through, you know, the process of being somewhat isolated, and then over the course of time, you know, all of the information being a little bit difficult at times to get. We've sent out information about the governor and the CDC guidelines, those types of things. We've gone through all the PPE, the plexiglass, all the things that are needed to be able to keep our folks safe from an employment standpoint, and done all of the updates that we needed to do. But we've noticed, I would say throughout the first, 8 months, we were able to move through and work through, and everybody seemed to work together as best as possible given the circumstance, whether it was emergency repairs to a unit. We suspended quarterly checks and things like that that were not necessarily day-to-day items that were needed to be done. And then have started those back as, some of the CDC guidelines and governor's guidelines have come out. We have noticed over the last 2 to 3 months sort of COVID fatigue that seems to be impacting both residents and our employees and our subcontracts. And I would say, looking at that and looking at the supply chain, our thinking is, even though the vaccine rollout is in our mind helping somewhat with things, that there's probably another 4 months to a year to really get through this. I don't see resolve on the supply chains in the short term because you've got so many jobs that have stopped on the multifamily side, and there's sort of a constant of how much labor can be done. I think that there are going to be issues there, and I think on the supply chain side, with everything shutting down like it did last year and then getting restarted, it's going to be very difficult. And I think like has also been spoke about here, I think everybody's going to need to be well ahead of the curve on purchasing materials, ordering materials, and planning going forward, probably for the next couple of years. So it's not been one thing, it's been a really sort of 360 degrees holistically how it's impacted our business and the residents that we serve.
Okay. Thank you very much, panel. I have another question. This one I ask, how does a citizen apply to your programs?
We have one number for High Point specifically for all our programs. I can type it in the chat if you'd like. I said Q&A. I'll type it there because I just reached out to Susan about some of her homeowners. If you have people facing issues with their mortgage because of COVID-19, there's one number to call. The same number is the number that you call in High Point when you're wanting to register for any one of our classes. So I'll go ahead and type that in the chat.
Excellent. Thank you, Sophia.
From our standpoint, any one of our communities, you can go by that community and there's information or phone number if for some reason it's after hours where someone can seek additional information and or apply.
We have application sessions twice a year for the homeowners so that we can process their applications all at once. It is in January and also August. Our next one is going to be opening up the 1st of August. Families can pick up applications at our Restore or download them online as well anytime. But the time period that we take the applications back in are usually the end of January, 1st of February, and then in August.
Yeah, for Community Housing Solutions, for the home repair program, if folks are interested in applying for a home repair program, they would call our office, and I can put our phone number in the chat as well. It's 336-676-6986. And they would speak with Dana in our office to see if they're eligible and how to proceed from there. And then for the new homes that we're building in High Point on Cedro Drive, if anyone is interested, they can call our office, but we really refer them to Sophia Crisp at Housing Consultants Group, who has more information and make sure they get the home buyer education.
So for Tiny House Community Development, we work closely with all of the Guilford County Continuum of Care members. A lot of those are from High Point. High Point Housing Authority has representation, as well as a lot of those different shelters located in High Point. So for our High Point community, if somebody's interested, we typically take residents through a current program. So if they're in a shelter or in transitional housing, or they're connected to the housing authority, they can inquire about our program, and we can get them connected with our case manager or office manager here to help them get more information.
All right. Excellent. Excellent. So, do any of the panelists, does anyone have any additional comments they wish to add?
I wanted to share one more comment I did not mention. We are working on a project with Community Development and Housing for construction of 2 new homes in the South Side area, along with another nonprofit. So we're happy about another local municipality nonprofit partnership with High Point CAF under the guidance of Ed Kimsey. So we're excited about that, and we will looking at putting some of the students in his classes to work on this particular home. So more to come, but we're really excited about that. And thank you to Mike McNair and Community Development and Housing. We're excited about that. We're closing this week on our construction loan, so more to come.
Great.
I'll just add, you know, we're really happy that we're able to work with High Point City Community Development. And, you know, it's overwhelming the support we've gotten from High Point City to come there and build tiny houses in High Point. We never planned it, but we're glad that it has basically to, you know, we're there and we're looking to grow significantly in the city of High Point and take the opportunity to build houses where other people aren't looking.
Great. Excellent. Thank you, guys. Do we have anything from Community Development and Housing? Mike, you want to say anything? Maybe not. We'll come back to Mike. How about you, Tony? Any comments?
I just wanted to mention that all of these partners are have really added value to affordable housing here in the city of High Point, and just working from a housing, speaking from a housing specialist position, it has really made it easy and comfortable to answer questions that a lot of the buyers, renters, and homeowners about rehab come to us. It's wonderful to have so many resources available to them, and as a result of that, you know, we never turn anybody away with saying, no, I cannot help you. We do have the ability to offer options, and it's really a pleasure to be able to work with this entire group of housing professionals.
All right, thank you, Tony. Greg, Mr. Ferguson, are you still with us? Okay. And we're also going to check in. We also have a new attendee, Ms. Thanina, our Assistant Community Development Director. Would you like to say a few words to the audience, Ms. Thanina? I think we may have some shy people today. Well, then we're just going to have you back on the panel tomorrow.
Rob, I would like to just thank the group for being present today and sharing the services that you provide to our citizens in High Point. It's just been, this information, even for me, knowing a lot that you do has been great. It's been outstanding. And I really appreciate you guys taking the time, you know, to actually participate and share, you know, in one setting with the community about what you do. And hopefully this will open up opportunities for other people that want to have affordable houses or want to look at doing something else, maybe besides renting, to be able to become homeowners or be able to rent a place that is a decent place for them to be able to live. And so I just say thank you so much. I appreciate you guys, and I'll turn it back over to Rob to close us out. Well, there's Mike. He may want to say something also.
Did I hear my name called?
Yes. Welcome back.
Well, let me say, I certainly appreciate you guys participating. Craig, you and Gene are making me blush over here. But we appreciate all the partnership. It's a force multiplier for us. We couldn't get a lot of things done. And I'm always telling our council and the manager that, believe it or not, you know, we have a lot of stuff going on, and your CD department is highly regarded across the state. And it's not just because of me, it's because of the whole team that we have here. Because obviously we have to work together, and we have a dedicated group of serious and mature professionals that work together to make this stuff happen. And a lot of these things are situations where we've recruited people. I recruited Gene to come over here. Yeah, you know, like Susan walked in my office one day, and my first few months I was here, she walked in my office. She says, "I heard about you." And oh, well, what'd you hear? that started our relationship from there. So a lot of these are just long-term, you know, and Craig and I have been interacting since 2011, 2012, somewhere in there. So these are just long-term relationships that are based on partnership, based on trust, based on people coming through and delivering, and everybody having a common interest in making a difference in the community. It's something that I'm proud of, because we can ride around. And in fact, I tell my staff, you can go out there and point at stuff. I had something to do with that. You know, you start ticking off the names so people can see it. And they may not necessarily know that the city of High Point is involved. And that's not why we do it, for recognition. We do it because we want to make a difference. So thank you all for participating. It's going to be an interesting week. And even though I was thinking earlier, even though we don't have a lot of participants, one of the, I guess, upsides of the pandemic is we've recorded all of this. So the public can see it. Rob, CAC can watch it, you know, at their leisure. And so we've got a recorded event, which, you know, counteracts the availability of folks being able to attend. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. Look forward to many, many more projects and opportunities and successful outcomes. Thank you much.
And again, to all of our panelists today, I want to say thank you for taking the time to join us today to share in some of the programs that are being offered in High Point. I can't say it enough just how great of a job that you all are doing, and how great of a job we are doing. And as we continue to move forward in High Point to build a better city, you know, I think we just have the sky's the limit here. So, you know, again, I tip my hat to everyone here. I do want to mention that tonight at the City Council meeting, there will be a proclamation for National Community Development Week that will be presented this evening, the City Council meeting at 5:30. And again, guys, just remember, this week is our week that we get to show, you know, our advocacy, our support for programs that impact our communities in a positive way. And so we do wish you guys can come back this week. We've got a program every day this week, at the same time, 10 to 12. Just register, come on board, and we look forward to seeing you then.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for participating.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. You guys have
Thanks,
a great
everyone.
day.
Have a good day.
You